everybody, it is Blonde Blitz time. Let's go.
He's had, but I still like the Commanders.
I'm also tough.
Jamar Chase. I'm looking at that Cincinnati team against the Cleveland Browns.
Well, as soon as I saw the rain last night, I was wondering if that might be a little bit of a factor as well.
How we play that week is really going to be more impacted.
With the Raiders, who got Jacoby Myers back.
The same thing with Joe Burrow. You just expect Joe Burrow to do it because he's been to a Super Bowl.
It's time to send in the Blitz with Deb Whitcas and the Blonde Blitz.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Blonde Blitz. I'm your host, Deb Whitcas. Week 9 is a memory, folks, and we are moving into week number 10. With Veterans Day next week, Salute to Service started last week in the NFL, and today's show is dedicated to all those past and present military who have served, including my own father. This is a very special show for me today, so excited to get to it. My special guest interview is the founder of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, Rich McGinnis. The Bowl is a prestigious all-star game for elite high school athletes. It's known as the launching pad for future NFL players such as Adrian Peterson, OBJ, and Tim Tebow. Also on today's show is my friend and the director of international operations for the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, as well as the NFL Academy Scout. He's also a DL and OL NFL prep coach. His name is Tony Charles, and he is here to help me out with hot takes for week number 9. I had a chance to attend the Rams Salute to Service event last week during practice, and HGTV designer to the athlete Shay Holland also attended a Rams Salute to Service Habitat for Humanity event. She will be here talking all about it as well. Sports betting expert Alex White is here as usual for your best bet for week number 10, along with fantasy expert Ballers Meg. Intuitive reader 333 asks Carrie looks at her power deck for the Ravens versus Vikings game. And finally, Ben Troupe, former tight end for the Bucs and the Titans, is here to help me with week 10 game picks. All right, guys, let's get it started. We're doing headlines, and I'm doing it live.
Now to Deb Whitcas with the Blonde Blitz headlines.
Week 9 brought breakout performances and clutch finishes across the league. 9 games were decided by one score, and 4 went down to the wire. A reminder of just how unpredictable this season has been. In New England, rookie quarterback Drake May stayed red hot, throwing for 268 yards and 2 touchdowns to become the youngest player ever, with 8 straight games of 200-plus yards and a 100-plus passer rating. In Buffalo, Josh Allen passed Cam Newton for the most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in NFL history at 79. Matthew Stafford lit up the Raiders with 4 touchdowns in a 41-21 win, while Christian McCaffrey powered the 49ers past Seattle with 173 total yards and 2 touchdowns, breaking Marshall Faulk's record for most games with both a rushing and receiving touchdown. And in Chicago, rookie quarterback Caleb Williams led a 47-42 shootout win over Cincinnati, throwing for 280 yards and 3 touchdowns, including a 58-yard game winner to Colston Loveland. All right, guys, let's talk a little NFL trade deadline. Things were shaken up this week. Yesterday, the 2025 NFL trade deadline was one of the most active in years. The Jets made headlines by sending Sauce Gardner to the Colts and Quentin Williams to the Cowboys, collecting multiple high draft picks in return. The Eagles loaded up defensively, trading for Michael Carter II and Jalen Phillips, while the Chargers added pass rusher Odafe Owe. The Jaguars landed wideout Jacoby Myers, and the Seahawks picked up big play receiver Rashid Shaheed. In other moves, the Ravens shipped Draymond Jones to Tennessee, and the Patriots dealt Keon White and Kyle Duggar as part of a roster reset. Headlines is long. You guys know I love NFC Players of the Week, AFC Players of the Week. On offense, Colston Loveland of the Bears, 6 catches for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns, including the game winner in a 47-42 victory. On defense, Javon Murray of the Panthers, 5 tackles, two TFLs, and a 36-yard pick in the 16-13 win. Special teams, Levy Drake Rodriguez of the Vikings blocked a potential game-tying field goal late in the 27-24 victory. AFC Players of the Week on offense, Lamar Jackson of the Raiders made 18 of 23 passes for 204 yards and 4 touchdowns in the 28-6 Thursday night football win over Miami. On defense, Highsmith of the Steelers, 2 sacks, 3 TFLs, a forced fumble, and a key pass deflection in the 27-20 win. And finally, special teams, Cam Little of the Jaguars hit all 3 field goal attempts, including a clutch 54-yarder to send the game into overtime. All right, guys, that is your Week 9 headlines for this 2025 NFL season. Next, we've got one of my special guests, a good friend who is also the director of the international operations for the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, as well as an NFL Academy scout and a DL and O-line NFL prep coach. His name is Tony Charles, and he is doing hot takes for Week 9 with me right now. Tony, where you at?
Next caller is Deb Whitcas, who says she has some really hot takes.
Hey, Tony, thank you so much for coming here on the Blonde Blitz. How are you?
Hey, Deb. Thanks for inviting me. Glad to be here. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's get right into it. Week 9, so many upsets in the NFL, right? It was insane. My fantasy, my pick'ems, they all kind of went to crap. But
for so many of us, right?
Right. I mean, Panthers beat Green Bay 16-13. Arizona beat the Cowboys 27-17. Steelers beat the Colts 20-27. Chicago beat the Bengals 47-42. What's your theory on why? Why are some of these elite teams now getting beat by, lesser balanced teams, let's say?
I think it's just a consistency, and then we're seeing backups coming in and playing just as good as the starters. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you saw Rico Dowdle come in, 25 carries, 130 yards. Hubbard's hurt, but he's playing better than Hubbard did when Hubbard was even playing, right? So then we look at Green Bay, just in general, they're kind of hit or miss, right? They went and dominated the Steelers on the road, but came back home, and look what happened. They got beat, so they don't. Do they even punt? do the Packers even punt?
Right. True.
But I mean, Love is out now. Tucker Kraft is out, so just kind of those things that just kind of happen, with the situations for sure.
Well, hopefully we don't see it moving forward that much because my pick'ems can't take it.
I know. Same here. A couple are on my list as well, too.
It's crazy. Let's move on to an exciting game. The Broncos Texans. They came back from another fourth quarter deficit. Here we go with the Broncos. They won the game 18-15. It was 15-7 at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Right.
And, this was the second time this season. What is it about this team, key players that makes the Broncos a scary team?
Man, Bo Nix, he just always comes through, right? Like, It looks ugly. It's not the prettiest ball out there, but, they come through. They struggle in the red zone sometimes, but they're truly a fourth quarter team, right? They always seem to pull it out. And when Bo Nix remembers he has legs, and gets out there and runs, he kind of changes the game a little bit.
Absolutely. Anything to do with Sean Payton here? I mean, head coach.
Maybe kind of takes the reins off a little bit, reminds him, hey, Bo, you have legs. You can use it too, because I know they want to protect him, keep him in the pocket, But, hey, let him out there, let him fly a little bit,
Yeah, no, I agree. I love Bo Nix. I think he's a great quarterback, and I love what he's done, for the Broncos this season and the team in general. They just come together at the right moment. It's almost like Kansas City.
Right? And, I mean, the defense, got to give credit to their defense too.
Yeah.
They haven't given up a touchdown, fourth game this season. They're leading the league in sacks, I think. Like, everyone's good. Everyone's good. And then those two strong goal line stances, we can't, downplay that at all. I mean, that was a strong, strong performance.
Yes, absolutely. Let's move on to the Jags and the Raiders. Longest field goal in NFL history, right? Cam Little.
Right.
68 yards. The previous record was 66. Lots of special teams activity spotlighted throughout this season across the entire league, to be honest. Is there a reason this season that the special teams are stepping up?
I mean, these kickers, they have legs these days, right? I mean,
they've always had legs, yes. But
they're hitting. I mean, they're hitting them now, and I think they're getting the green light based on analytics and all the different AI influences we have. And again, like even Cam Little in the preseason, he hit a 70-yarder. So these kickers are showing that they have the legs. And a lot of teams, they're relying on these field goals. Right. Some teams are just only scoring field goals, like the Panthers, they needed field goals just to stay competitive. Even the Ravens in week 8, they needed field goals just to stay competitive with the top guys out. So when you have those situations, we're relying more on kickers to stay competitive, not just to come in at the last minute and win games. But yeah, those kicks, they're hitting them from very, very far. And speaking of the Ravens, he beat Tucker's record of 66, so I thought that was going to stand for a long time. But, again, as these balls get pushed back further, his legs keep getting tested more and more. I think we may see more and more, bigger numbers, may hit that 70-yarder during the year.
Right. That would be amazing to see, right? That would be so great. I love field goals. I love extra points. I love that intensity of everything. And actually I think that's the Rams' one setback, I think, this season is Cardi just isn't performing,
Very true.
With the kicks. And I think it's actually hurting the Rams now. I think the Rams have been leading the league, but
yeah, I mean, even Cam Little himself, like this was his sophomore slump, but he hasn't been doing that well too. So maybe this might be, the go ahead to turn around his season as well.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the Commanders and Seahawks game. This unfortunate injury with Jaden Daniels, a dislocated elbow in the fourth quarter. I saw the replay. They played it in slow-mo. I literally turned my head and screamed like that. I haven't done that in a game in a really long time. Obviously the Scatabo injury, I wasn't watching the screen. I was listening, so I only heard it, and they didn't replay it. But so yeah, it was just it was horrible to watch. A lot of speculation. They're saying that Dan Quinn should have pulled him previous to this injury. The Commanders were down by 30 points.
Right.
Why is Jaden Daniels still in the game?
I mean, maybe Quinn's comeback math wasn't mathing. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe he's just trying to get his young quarterback some live reps that you really can't do. That their playbook was working, so maybe they're just trying to just keep working through their game plan. You never know, but I mean, they were running RPO at the same time. Daniels can take a little responsibility for it too, because if you watch the play, he could have just handed that ball off in that RPO. So yeah, as the leader, Dan Quinn, took responsibility, for the whole thing, even though, again, the play was kind of set up for Daniels just to hand it off.
Okay. Yeah. No, he was going for that touchdown and just
Exactly.
he was going for it. You got to give the guy credit, right?
For it. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, just so
But you saw they took Darnold out right after that, so
you did. Yeah.
out. You're coming out.
Yep. They were like, we're done. This game's over. Yeah. But so many prayers to Jaden Daniels.
Definitely. Speedy recovery to him for sure.
Such a good quarterback, and I hate to see anyone go down. Let's talk a little about the trade deadline. It was yesterday, right?
Yep.
Sauce Gardner of the Jets traded to the Colts for 2 first-round picks. I love Sauce. I interviewed him actually at the draft after he drafted to the Jets a couple of years ago. They were asking the stupidest questions about like, what sauce is this moment, Sauce? I was like, oh my God, really? Are we really reporters here? Anyway, I digress. Was this the correct move for the Jets? Have they just given up on the season at this point?
I mean, I don't know if so much giving up for the season as looking forward, right? They know they need a left tackle. They know they need a wide receiver, and having 2 first-round picks, that's going to be, great for them, to be able to move on for the seasons going forward. But also, I mean, looking at this season, they had that looming market reset extension coming up, so they have to think smart. At the end of the day, it is a business. Have to make good business deals and think for now and in the future. But it just shows that the culture, they're looking to win now. They have they have these big
And they
dollar
can.
secondary for sure, for sure. So I mean, the only thing that we can hope for the Colts, it doesn't turn out like the Jamal Adams deal where they gave up 2 picks and then he didn't really turn out as well as they hoped, or fell to injury. So we want Sauce to stay healthy, but things like that do happen. So we just hope the best things happen for Sauce and the Colts for sure.
Absolutely. I read somewhere it was like Sauce went to sleep 1-7 and woke up 7-1 or something. Something crazy like
Definitely.
that. So
Exactly.
well, let's discuss a little bit about you and your career.
Okay.
You are the owner of Terror in the Trenches at the Trench in San Antonio, Texas. You
Yes.
are a prep coach for O-line and D-line. Tell me a little bit about what you do.
So I get guys ready for the NFL Combine, guys who want to get drafted. I also work primarily with current NFL offensive linemen and defensive linemen. And when those guys are in season, I work with athletes of all ages, just working on the same drills and techniques that I instill in my professional guys, just trying to give everybody the best opportunities to be at the highest part of their game. That's the goal: create opportunities and instill in the techniques that can get them there.
Have you worked with any current NFL players?
Yeah, one of my local clients is Elijah Garcia for the New York Giants. Man, I love that guy. We do a lot of work together. I work with Miles Adams as well too, another
Who I've had
local
on the
guy.
show. Great
Yes.
guy. Good football player as
Definitely,
well.
definitely. So, yeah, I mean, I work with a lot of local guys here in Texas, and I travel all over the world, actually, doing just the same, getting guys ready who've never played football before, getting them ready to go like to the NFL IPP program or the NFL Academy, all kind of different avenues. I just love to create opportunities for guys to really excel at this game.
Amazing. And tell me a little bit about what you do. You're a scout for the NFL Academy too. What do you look for what do you look for in a NFL player?
Oh yeah, definitely. I just look for guys, especially guys who have never played the game before. Coming from different sports like rugby, just looking for the body type, the agility, the mobility, the desire to learn and be the best at what they do. So those are some of the main things they look for. Then their ability to learn the game, ability to absorb and have a good football IQ are some of the main things that make up a good guy to be a football player for sure.
Awesome. And we have Rich McGinnis on the show later. I'm going to do an interview with him about the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, which you also work with.
Yes,
You
yes.
are the director of international operations for the bowl. What does that job entail?
So it kind of goes hand in hand what I do with my everyday job, going around the world, finding guys who are top level talents, maybe undiscovered gems, or guys who may need a little more football IQ, a little more training to be able to make that transition from non-football sport into football. So I do a lot of work with the NFL Academy. Those guys over there in the UK and Australia, see how they develop their talent, to see what athletes are able to come over to the NFL Combine or potentially even be All American.
Right, right. And what do you look for internationally in players?
So internationally, I look for guys who really have that drive and that spirit to be as great as they possibly can be. Guys who are really students of the game, because again, we take for granted a lot of opportunities here in the U.S. to be part of youth football from a young age. So, for example, in other countries, like it's kind of prohibited, like even in the UK, for guys to play contact football until they're 17 years old.
Wow.
So yeah, so
Okay.
my
Different.
first All-American was used to C League from the NFL Academy in the UK. So again, those skill guys are behind the curve, but to see them put that effort and that work in to become the best at a sport that we kind of take for granted sometimes, the opportunities that we have from even a young age is for. So seeing those guys who, so
Warner,
guys
yeah.
who study film and train hard and do everything they can, like NFL Academy guys, they leave home to go be boarded at Loughborough University to learn the game that that some of us can just walk out of bed and do.
That's amazing to see that transition too, from someone who hasn't even played football to someone being, going to the NFL or having a chance
Exactly.
in the NFL. That's an amazing
Exactly.
opportunity. Um, Coach Tony, why football? I ask everybody who's on the show, why do you love football? What's special about it?
Football for me, being a lineman, it's just the aspect of being a team player, not always having a spotlight on you, doing your role and doing your job well, and knowing that if you're doing the best that you can do, the person next to you doing the best they can do, you guys can all achieve a common goal of victory, and that translates over into life.
How does it translate?
Just being a good business person. So if everyone's doing their role in business, and you can rely on me to do my part, I can rely on you to do your part. We can all achieve that goal, whatever that business goal may be, for sure.
Thank you so much for being on the Blonde Blitz. We have to have you back.
Hey, I would love to be back. It was a great experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. See you soon.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, if you want to reach out to Coach Tony, you can find him on IG at Terror in the Trenches or on coachup.com, Tony Terror in the Trenches. All right, guys, the Rich is running a little bit late. We will have him in a bit, but we are going to skip ahead to week 10, and we're going to intro Alex White. She is a third-generation sports betting expert. She's here to give you your best bet for week number 10.
It's time to get some NFL betting advice from Alex White and the Blonde Blitz. Win big so I can rob you later.
Hi everyone, really excited about this slate of games. Week 10, some really good division matchups. I am going to a home revenge spot here. NFC West. The Niners took game 1 in LA, and now the Rams have a chance to take one back and win in San Francisco. They are a 4-point favorite. I'll tell you why I really like the Rams in this spot. There are 6 teams that are in the top 10 in scoring and opponent points per game. There are 4 teams that are in the top 10 for yards per play and opponent yards per play. There are 2 teams that are in the top 10 for both of those. It is the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are quietly playing some excellent football. They've won 3 in a row coming into this game, and Matthew Stafford's having another MVP year. We just heard from Shanahan that Brock Purdy's injury is going to continue lingering throughout the year. Mac Jones has been decent, completing 67% of his passes, 10 passing touchdowns, but 5 INTs. Matthew Stafford on the other side, he's leading the league in yards per game average for any quarterback who's played at least 5 games. He also has 21 passing touchdowns and 2 INTs. MVP season. I like the Rams here. I think they are a top 10 offense and defense, and I think they're going to roll. -4, best bet of the week. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'll check in again next week.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Thanks so much, Alex. And of course, we can't talk sports without talking fantasy. Here's fantasy expert Ballers Meg with her advice for week 10.
When I'm looking for fantasy advice, I listen to Meg from TSS Fantasy.
Hi guys, Ballers Meg coming at you with the fantasy football section of the Blonde Blitz podcast this week, and I've got some recommendations for people you want to be picking up and keeping an eye on this week. First up, Keyshawn Boutte over at the Patriots. He has been making an absolute splash over there, and definitely one to keep an eye on this week. Next up, Jackson Dart. Don't count the Giants out just because of their injuries. I think Jackson Dart is going to do fabulous things, and I would definitely be picking him up where possible. Finally, have a look at Alvin Kamara this week, because there is not much else going on over at that squad, and I think that the Saints might be making some moves with Alvin Kamara ahead of this week's games. You can catch all the hints, tips, tricks on fantasy football advice over at Ballers Meg, Ballers_Meg on all social media platforms, and at TSS Fantasy on that Sports Podcast Network. See you soon, guys.
Is that your final answer?
All right, guys, my next special guest is the founder of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. The Bowl is a prestigious all-star game for elite high school athletes. It's known as the launching pad for future NFL players. It launched the careers of NFL greats Adrian Peterson, Odell Beckham Jr., and Tim Tebow. Here to tell us all about the U.S. Army All-American Bowl is Rich McGinnis.
I'm still waiting for my invite as a special guest on the Blonde Blitz. My agent is waiting for your call, Deb.
Rich, thank you so much for coming on the Blonde Blitz. How are you?
I'm doing great, and as you know, I'm out of power in North Jersey. Been a long weekend, but I'm in a car. The lights are shining, but with the hour change, it's dark everywhere. So you'll see the best of me with what I got. But thanks so much for having me on.
Of course, no, I'm excited that you're here. Power outage and all. Thank you for still doing this. So I'm going to start with the first question. I ask every single person that I interview, why football? What do you love about the game?
Yeah, well, I've always said, I'm a third my dad, a third my mom, and a third football. And I'm 58.
I'm that too.
No, oh wow, all right, look at that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I'm I played college football, high school football, youth football. I feel like it changed my life in so many ways, from how to get up and how to work hard. And as you know, in Jersey, you start football in the Indian summer, and then you end football in the Alaskan winter, right? It's like a crazy, transition. Yep. And I just think it's taught me a lot. So I've made a living, thankfully, being a little lucky. I'm an attorney by trade. I was a DA for a bunch of years until I had the idea of this U.S. Army game back in 2000. And It was just an idea, and then it got me going. But football is a big part of my life, and that's why I'm here, I guess, today.
Awesome. And you just touched on my next question. When and why did you start the U.S. Army All-American Bowl?
Yeah, well, there were some things that I loved as a sports fan. The first was the McDonald's All-American basketball game, yep, which I never missed. Seeing Kobe for the first time, or Shaquille, or some of the great high school players. The Little League World Series, right? Like in Williamsport, can't miss, right? Tom's River South fighting Japan for a championship, just like good stuff. And I loved the 5-Star Academy, and those are the three things that I kind of grew up around: iconic basketball or football events or baseball events. And I want to do the football version of the McDonald's All-American games. So back in 2000, I called all the top kids, figured out how to do it, lost a ton of money, but the Army signed on, the NBC signed on shortly thereafter, and I had about 17 years of great fun doing the game.
And what was that process like? Getting everyone together, getting the Army on board. I mean, what was that process?
Yeah, it was a big one, and I didn't know what I was doing, right? But you figure it out when you're passionate about the game. It's funny, we play the game of football a lot. We never understand the production of the game or what goes into it. So the first thing was I had to find a place, and I thought Dallas, Texas was a good place to start. I had to identify the top players, so I had some groups back then. Guy named Tom Lemming, kind of the who's who of scouts that has been doing it for 50 years. So he gave me the top 80 guys. There were some other groups, school sports, that jumped in. So I had 80 guys that were the best players, and I had to call each one of them. There was no cell phone really back then, so I had to call the schools or the dads or the moms and recruit. And I got everybody but one.
And you just called
that year. I did, yeah. And it was, if you've seen the McDonald's game, this is that version, but in football, Texas, Dallas for 1 week, December, come play. And 79 out of the 80 kids said, I'm in. So it was a great concept by their standards, but TV audience wasn't great. The game audience wasn't great, but the kids came, and that meant a lot. And on the way out of that first year, it was a very fun year. There was a snowstorm in the country. I couldn't get everybody, into Texas on time. But when the game was over, Marcus Spears, who's now a ESPN guy, said, "Hey, coach, keep up. It's going to be a great game one day." So words of encouragement by the young guys. And 18 years later, I was still doing it, and we've got a version of it today.
Absolutely. And Veterans Day is approaching. It's also Salute to Service in the NFL. How did you partner with the Army? How did they get involved?
Yeah, well, my dad was a Marine for 25 years, so I grew up around the military. I really thought that it would be a good fit. So I had to, pitch the agency and all the folks, and I end up somewhere in Fort Knox in front of a general and his staff. And he happened to be a University of Tennessee alum. was a big college fan. This made so much sense. And the Army said, we want to educate young people, men and women, about Army opportunities, and what a great vehicle to use. So the bowl then and is now travels the country to announce all the All-Americans at their high school often. We get in front of all those kids, men and women, young men and women, and we celebrate their All-American status. And the Army saw this whole thing, including the 3 hours on TV, as an opportunity to just educate. And along the way, we've had special forces soldiers and soldiers from Afghanistan and gold medal honorary Army heroes come down. And it's been an amazing journey for me to kind of see what the Army's about as well. And I always say the next best thing to maybe being in the Army, right, is to work with the Army and get all the fun and excitement about what they're about, and in all of it, make America stronger by doing this game.
And you also work with high school athletes. Why did you decide to do high school?
Yeah, we thought that was back 20 plus years ago, that was the next frontier. It's probably not now, but we thought that would be
starting ground.
Yeah, I know.
Starts.
But these days it's like, everybody kind of knows the next 5-star, 4-star kid. But back then, you really didn't know them. You heard about them. Maybe you saw a Parade magazine with an article or two, but you never saw them play, and you certainly didn't have the internet the way you do now. And even the recruiting world was still emerging, right? The 5-star, 4-star world, and all those that were doing evaluations. So it was a pretty open world, and we thought the high school, senior level guys would be it, given the McDonald's All-American game had been successful as well.
And explain the competition to be accepted to play in the bowl.
The competition?
Yeah. Like how
yeah.
Like find the athletes, they compete against each other. Like how do you get into the bowl? How do you become accepted?
Yeah. So you've got to be pretty good, and I would argue there's a series of recruiting data out there. There's 4 or 5 different groups. We work with 2 of them, and we cross-reference everybody's opinions, and then come up with who we think is the very, very best. And I think that's the start of it. Then the next part is character, right? Are they All-Americans in every sense of the word? Will they be representatives of us and the brands that we work with for years to come? Tim Tebow, Andrew Luck, Marcus Spears, Reggie Bush, Adrian Peterson, all went on for, to have great careers, and we're always happy, and they're happy as well, to talk about the game and their status as All-Americans and represent the best of what we were about. And that was just, again, the best of America in soldiering and in football.
Awesome. And it's funny, I come from an unscripted background, and I remember the reality show was in 2010. It was called The Ride.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember it distinctly. And it was a quarterback competition show to play in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl and get a D1 scholarship too. Right?
You were probably the only one who watched that, because no one ever remembers that.
I'm a reality TV person.
I know. Kudos to you. I think we shot the first episode in Philadelphia, believe it or not.
Okay.
Or the first episode was down in one of the local colleges there, and Ron Jaworski was a part of it. But it was your neck of the woods. Yeah, he's great. And as you know, right, it was like QB1 before QB1, right? It was all that. And we had so much fun picking All-Americans to be, or all these quarterbacks who would represent the 80th kid selected. Yeah. So as you know, they went and kind of did all their things, and we ended up with some really great kids, but a whole lot of fun. And I think we showcased more than anything how hard it is to be a quarterback, the work that's got to go. And that, that was part of the ride, so to speak, right? Letting young kids know this journey of, oh my gosh, you got to put all these hours in, but hopefully it was worth it. And thanks for watching.
Of course. No, I actually enjoyed it. What do athletes gain from playing in the bowl?
Yeah, I think I would say a lot of things, but I would say knowing where they stand. I think the challenge in America was all these great kids always playing locally, right, in their local conference or what have you. And if you're really, really good, there may not be that much competition. And how would you get ready to go to Mississippi State or Clemson or Alabama, except to go on a field with, 80 other guys or 79 other guys who were of that standard. So I think that most importantly, they leave with man, where do I stand, right? Mm-hmm. 4 years down the road, they want to be in the NFL draft. They want to be in the first round. So I think it's sobering at times to see where they stand with that competition. But I would say, secondly, it's fun, right? They enjoy the celebration of being around everybody. It's a fun week, 5 days of steak eating competitions and skill competitions. And Emmitt Smith was a coach last year on one of the teams. So if you were on that team, you're hanging out with Emmitt, talking about, his Hall of Fame journey. And then typically you would meet a soldier, right? So when bowl week was over, you will have met a Hall of Famer, an Army general, and a soldier that might be the same age as these All-Americans. And if you can imagine, if you're the All-American and somebody roughly your age just got back from Afghanistan and he was in a war, right, and you're just playing ball, I think they also have an appreciation for what soldiering looks like. And they leave with, that perspective. And they're all young men. And certainly we now have an All-American flag bowl for the best 20 female flag football players too. So we talk about the All-Americans in both status. And, if you're one of them and you leave, I think, with your eyes wide open to the world and maybe just a little bit better or a little more prepared to go to the Olympics if you're a flag female athlete, or dominate the SEC, right, if you're a football guy, and eventually go as far as you can, with this great sport.
Well, I love that you just brought up the women as well. I cover women's football for Sports Illustrated as well. And the women, it's Olympic sport, 2028, Los Angeles. Yeah. We cannot wait. Talk a little bit more about when did you start integrating the women in?
Yeah, so I'm a proud father of two daughters who both played softball and basketball, and I'm a club basketball coach. I'm the high school basketball coach in town, so I can't get enough and all that. And one weekend, I had my club basketball team. We're looking for something to do, something different, and we said, hey, none of you ever played flag football. I was working at the time in Canton at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, running the academy there. And I brought my girls basketball team to Canton, where they did their first football camp, and they loved it. They learned how to throw and catch and do all the great things that, others do earlier in life. But they're basketball young ladies, and they're athletic and all that. So they had a great time, and we always have a great time when we're on the road. And they said, Coach, when are we going to play? I said, oh boy, I wasn't thinking about playing, just having fun. So there was a local NFL flag tournament at Giant Stadium, or with the Giants or the Jets. So we did a local tournament, my girls basketball team. We didn't win one game. We had to go find the quarterback in Canada and flew her down for the weekend, but we had a blast. And I always said, someday, yeah, truly. And when you're hanging out with all these guys doing football and your daughters have a great time, I said, hey, someday I want to do what I can to open the bowl game up to that. So 3 years ago, we brought in the first flag teams. 2 years ago, we did the first All-American flag bowl, we call it, and the young women were phenomenal. They were really Division I athletes in other sports, soccer and basketball and all that, and flag was just for fun, but boy, oh boy, could they play, and they were just terrific, and it's been a great addition to the game.
That's awesome. And also, too, just knowing that the bowl is a launching pad for possible professional females, also NFL players. What's the percentage of athletes that play in the bowl and then move on to NFL careers?
Yeah, so I would say the average class of 80 All-Americans would produce about 25 or 30 NFL players. And now you may think that's a lot or a little.
That's high.
When I looked at all these kids coming through the door at the hotel every December, I think everyone should play, because I'm like, how would you not, right? But as you know, things happen, right? Life happens, and some stay focused, some don't. And I think one of the speeches to the All-Americans on the first night is only 30 go on, and the 50 go, wow, I'm blown away that only 30 of us go on. But, it's situational sometimes, wrong college, wrong time, wrong position, who knows? So I think 30 is great. I mean, God bless them. And then if you add that up over time, right, the alumni it's a pretty large base. And obviously, there's been some Hall of Famers that I've been around now. Joe Thomas is one of them, who played in the original U.S. Army game. So, yeah, but it's 30 out of 80. Go make it big.
Right. Well, and I know usually I think the percentage is 1% of college football players make it to the NFL. So 30 out of 80, I think that's a lot.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So I know you mentioned Adrian Peterson, Odell Beckham Jr., Tim Tebow. They played in the bowl. Who else?
Yeah, almost. It's kind of a who's who. I would say, some of the notable guys who I thought were really interesting, along the way. I'll just give you one story. There was this lineman from Utah, and we never had an All-American from Utah, and typically the lineman came out of Texas or some of the Midwest states, and we had lost a Texas lineman to an injury, and the selection team said, hey, the next guy. I said, where's he from? And they said, Texas. I said, not surprised, right? And then I said, where's the next guy coming from? And he said, hey, at 178, there's a lineman from Utah, and he wouldn't have made the game otherwise because he wasn't a top 100 guy. So we put him in. He's the first guy from Utah we ever had. We thought that was kind of novel. And he comes in, not a 100 guy. And then, within a day or two, right, he's like 50, right, because all the scouts are there, watching these guys. And he was just unbelievable. And he was running down, all the 4- and 5-star running backs and quarterbacks. And he's a big 6'3", 280 lineman. So then as the week goes on, he's like 50, then 40. Like, I'm just watching the online rankings. And when the game was over, after 4 sacks of Vince Young, or one of the All-American quarterbacks, like he was like 8, right? And then goes on to Oregon and then signs the biggest contract for an interior lineman in the NFL ever at the time. And his name was Halati Ngata, right? Yes. Samoan guy. Yeah. And that's a story to say, like, we found guys that might have not otherwise been there, but for some reason we brought him in, and he's a good example. I would say, Patrick Peterson, these are some of the guys that were fun to watch, throughout. As you said, Odell was a quiet guy back then. He was kind of a church mouth. I mean, we just played and had fun. Tebow was probably a celebrity, maybe the biggest celebrity to ever come in as a high school All-American. Adrian Peterson, was probably the best running back maybe in the history of high school football to ever show up at that time. But the other kid that was an interesting kid, didn't have a huge NFL career, was Chris Leak. Chris Leak comes out as the #1 quarterback, and he is the first guy to put on a cap that we knew of. And I'm not saying it didn't happen across America, but I would say it didn't happen officially at events to announce your college until that day. So the week before, he goes, hey, would you mind if I announce my college? And we're like, hey, great idea. We didn't think once about college announcements. And at halftime, he put on a University of Florida cap. The world went crazy. He went out to win a championship, I think, with Tebow, kind of both playing quarterback. But that was like the shot heard around the world, right? The first kid to put a cap on, and then ultimately, become known for that announcement. Ted Ginn Jr. runs back a kick 100 yards untouched. He was a world-class sprinter, goes on to have a great NFL career. But if you ever watch the highlights, he literally goes untouched for 100 yards, and it's amazing. Yeah, and then maybe the last one story, and you mentioned, I think I might have mentioned Reggie Bush. Mm-hmm. We get to Reggie Bush through a highlight clip where he fakes out 12 guys. And, you may go, 12? What do you mean 12? Yeah. But he fakes out everybody in one play on the defense, and the first guy he fakes out turns and chases them and tracks them down, and then Reggie fakes them out again. So, like, that's 12, right? And and it was the most unbelievable play. And we said, this guy is definitely the All-American running back. Anyway, so yeah, a lot of great guys, a lot of great stories, and a lot of great recruiting going on. I think the other fun subplot of the game was always the Clemson guys trying to get Clemson, more guys to go to Clemson, and the USC guys trying to get more, and the Notre Dame guys. It was a pretty good fight. Yeah, no doubt. So, yep.
So let's talk a little bit about the bowl coming up this year. When and where is the bowl, and how can audience get tickets? How can our audience watch?
Yeah. So the game is December 21st. In the Ford Center. The Dallas Cowboys now host the game, and the game is going to be streamed on Victory. It's a network that does the Texas Rangers and all the Texas high school championship games. You can go to millbowl.com for all the information. It's still an annual event. It is now back in Dallas, and again, I ran a game in San Antonio for a bunch of years, and then I went to go work in Canton. But the game now that I run is in Frisco, Texas. The game's inside the Ford Center, and they call it the Star, and it is the Dallas Cowboys practice facility, but it has 12,000 beautiful seats to see a great game, and we're going into our year 4.
Awesome. And what can our audience expect?
Yeah, I would say a lot of I would say the quarterbacks are always going to be interesting. We've got just some SEC guys coming in, some West Coast guys coming in typically. I think the international players, as you might have heard through Coach Tony, will be really interesting as well. You got some big linemen, you've got some great linebackers, and I think the international flavor to the game, which wasn't there before, will add some fun, and also some, how do they play together, right? It's American football, and then guys who play American football, but maybe a slightly different way in their own country. So I think that's gonna be fun. And I would also say the bowl week, festivities, right? The idea that we have generals and soldiers and a lot of great people coming in to share their wisdom with the game will also be highlights to the All-Americans. And certainly, that All-American flag team. I have not yet seen the 22 kind of film of the 22 young women who have been chosen, but we have our list, and we're going to roll out one clip at a time their great athletic ability. But it's another great class of athletes playing flag, and some of these girls will be in the Olympics, no doubt about it.
Really, Rich, thank you so much for coming on the Blonde Blitz and talking all about everything. I'm super excited for December 21st and that week, and I will see you there.
All right, sounds good. Great meeting you, and thanks for all you do as well to support the game. Take care.
Appreciate you. Okay, bye. All right, guys, Shay Holland, HGTV designer to the athletes, had a chance to link up with the Rams and Habitat for Humanity for a Salute to Service event. She is here to talk all about it.
When I need the latest in style and entertainment, I tune into the Blonde Blitz.
President and CEO of Habitat for Humanity of Greater Los Angeles. Having the Rams come out to help out in the community, especially here in Inglewood, is so meaningful because the community sees how dedicated the team is. The community is so dedicated to the Rams, and to see the Rams come out and also give back in the community is a real sense of encouragement, especially for families who have lived in this area since the 1960s, like Miss Norris. So. Well, the Rams and Verizon have both been partners with Habitat for Humanity Greater Los Angeles for many years. And so when the Rams mentioned that they wanted to do their Salute for Service to honor veterans, and we also have our Habitat for Heroes program, we decided that we would do this together and honor some veterans and widows of veterans who needed some home repairs.
It's so special to be out here in Inglewood. The CEO of Habitat for Humanity just said this would have cost them upwards of $20,000 to do. So to be able to bring some players and cheerleaders and staff to handle this and really kind of pay tribute to the sacrifices of the family is really special.
And they got a lot done. It was a real blessing to her. We have a year-round home repair program, and we specialize in serving veterans, especially during this time of year. But we serve about 120 families through our home repair program, and they can apply online or give us a call and receive home repairs. I'm a huge Rams fan.
Shay, how are you?
Hi, Jack. I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. What was it like being out there with the Rams?
You know, it's just because I have roots in Habitat for Humanity. I was actually on the board of directors of the Portland chapter, and I just believe so much in the mission. And it's great to see the Rams out there. A lot of the rookie class, you know, and some of the other players. Just this is a cause that has been close to the Rams' heart for a long time. So it was just a lot of fun to be out there with them.
How was it a full circle moment for you?
Yeah, for me, definitely, because especially the Rams are also going to be helping with some of the homes in the Palisades. So, which is where we had the fires and the Altadena area, and that's right by me. And that was something I had wanted to get involved in as well. So for me, it was a chance to also connect with some people I'll probably be seeing going forward. And also, I'm from a military family, and this particular event was to help a military family, a Vietnam veteran, which is what my dad was also. And that family needed about $20,000 worth of home improvements that they would not have been able to afford had the Rams not come out and done it. So there was just all kinds of connections for me personally. It was kind of a cool moment to be out there with all those deep ties to my own personal history too.
And what did you see while you were out there? What did they fix? What did they change?
Yeah, a lot of it was a ton of painting, a ton of yard maintenance, a ton of yard cleanup. They also brought the cheerleaders with them, some of them, and they jumped right into, you saw them in that video. They also had some executives from the Rams front office. So it was a full day of being able to serve this family, and they were just so grateful to be able, I mean, who wouldn't be to have the Rams come out and work around your house, and you get to meet them all day, and you get to have just a lot of pictures taken and all that kind of stuff. So it's really something that has been great for the Rams to serve the community, to do this salute to service, which they have been doing for years and years and years. Just so many different meaningful ties. And obviously just with the connection to football being there to see these guys, I think it sets the rookies off right for their careers of community service. It's not just the game that matters. It is also being able to serve the community wherever they end up playing, whether they stay with the Rams or if they get traded and end up somewhere else. I think the community service is so nice to see the NFL really making sure that these guys get started off on the right foot.
All right, Jay, thank you so much for doing that event and being here to talk about it. Where can our audience find you?
I'm at Shay Holland Official and across all social media.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
All right. We've got reader 333 ask Carrie using her power deck to predict the Ravens versus Vikings game this week. Carrie, what do you got for us?
Let's see what the power deck cards say about these NFL team futures.
Game, and I will be using my power deck. So 2 planetary transits that come to mind that should be highlighted. We have the full moon in Taurus that's happening tonight, and that's going to give like kind of a power punch. It's considered the harvest moon, super moon, and that energy that it brings to all of us. It really provides exposure to things that no longer serve us. So whether that's in our professional or personal life, that's kind of like, the time to Taurus is a very grounded energy, and it's in the sign of Taurus, but it's kind of, before you could get to the grounding, you got to have this instability. So the last 2 weeks for folks leading up to this culminating type of energy, no surprise to me if there was kind of this not so sure kind of feeling amongst folks. So now that we have that energy with the moon, unfortunately we have Mercury retrograde. I shouldn't say unfortunately, because sometimes people do want things from our past to come back. But this is a test in time to see if the thing that comes back from your past, whether that's a person or like a job or, an offer, that you want to take it back. And so how does this apply to football? Well, it turns out that both quarterbacks for these teams, for the Ravens and Vikings, we have Lamar Jackson and obviously JJ McCarthy. Both are Capricorns, double Capricorns. They're both earth signs. This is an earth sign full moon. There's no doubt that everyone's going to be impacted, but it actually might favor the Caps. So it kind of gives this like alluring energy. It's in their 5th house, so that's romance, creativity, children are going to be the themes for them. I really feel like it's going to help them in their game, but it's kind of going to be like a lower scoring game. I don't think they're going to like blow it out, but I do feel that the Vikings will take a win here because it is on their home field advantage. And let's see what the cards have for us. I'm going to do a live pull, so then you guys know that I'm not fooling around. Oh, okay. Well, the first one up is that I had was for the Vikings, and we have King of Pentacles, which is a Capricorn. So JJ McCarthy is going to do his job, and the Vikings actually have been, trying to like stir up the pot, but it just hasn't been enough for them. Then they have the Joker card. So I think the Ravens have a few plays that might trick the defense of the Vikings, but they get the 10 of Cups card, the 10 of Hearts, because that means that they will be winning this particular game. Now, for the Ravens, I have, let's see, again, let's go back to the cards here. Oh, yeah. So they get 3-3, so that's inspiration. But then the 10 of Spades, which is ruin and loss. I have the Ravens at 12 and the Vikings at 24. Good luck, guys. Have a great week.
All right, guys, Ben Troupe, former tight end for the Bucks and the Titans, is here. He's waiting backstage to help me with Week 10 game picks.
Bring in Deb and Troupe so we can get our NFL picks.
Hello, Ben. How are you?
How you doing? How you doing?
I look forward to this segment every single week. Let's go. We'll make it fast. I know you have your show after this. Start out with the Patriots versus the Bucks Sunday at 1 p.m. We got Drake May versus Baker Mayfield. Who you got and why?
As much as I want to go with the Bucks, I think Drake May and them guys got something going on. I mean, Drake May is like a dark horse MVP candidate right now. Like what the Bucks are doing. I like what Baker Mayfield is doing, but they're going to have a plan for him. Baker Mayfield, he's still 6 feet, like 200 pounds. He can't be running into linebackers. That's not going to be a recipe for success for him. Playing out of his mind, but I'm going to go with Drake May and the Patriots.
All right. I'm actually going to go opposite of you. I'm going to go Bucks. The Bucks are 2.5 favorites. The Bucks have a strong defense, and although the Patriots have a great record, I've seen some questionable things from their offense, especially last game. And the offense is actually 28th in scoring right now. The Patriots have won the last 6 games, and some are saying it's an easy schedule. I don't think it's going to be easy anymore. It is going to be hard because Chris Godwin and Bucky Irving are out for the Bucks. That's not good. But this matchup is expected to be a rush defense for the Patriots, and that means Baker will have to throw a lot, which is kind of what he does, right? Yeah. So Tampa is playing at home after a bye. Need I say more? I'm going Bucks. All right, let's do Rams versus 49ers. This is the California game, Sunday at 4:25 p.m. Who you got and why?
Really, really impressed by what Mac Jones is doing. Brock Purdy is still on that. I don't know how much longer he's going to be out. But I just think that when you think about, what Matthew Stafford is doing with his Rams offense right now, what they've been able to do, him and Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, when he's in there, one of the best receivers in the league, I'm not going to go against Puka and Matthew Stafford. Give me the Rams.
I'm going with you as well. I mean, top-notch offense right now. Rams have an amazing defense, really strong. I feel like the Rams have more key players. It's going to be a good game, though. I mean, CMC, you never quite know with him. Yeah. He has carried the entire team on his back before, but it was not against the Rams. Rams are 3.5 favored. I'm going Rams. All right, let's quickly do Steelers versus Chargers Sunday at 8:20 p.m. What you got and why?
Steelers get a big-time win last week. I mean, kind of letting everybody know they still one of the best teams. Get a big win against the Colts. This Chargers team, you talk about a team that's up and down. Justin Herbert and company is playing well. I don't feel good about it, but I'm gonna go with the Chargers only because I can't trust the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are really, really good in spurts, but then they'll lose to the Bengals. Then they'll come back and beat the Colts. Yeah. So because I don't know what Pittsburgh team is going to show up, give me the Chargers. Because Derwin James, I mean, he's doing interviews saying they click on all cylinders. Give me the Chargers.
Okay. All right. I could go either way on this, to be honest. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Nobody expected the Steelers to win last week against the Colts, but yet they did. If anybody can beat the Colts, they can beat the Chargers, right? I think this is going to be a big game for TJ Watt. Yeah. He has 5 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, 2 forced fumbles, 4 pass deflections, and an interception this season. And the Chargers O-line has allowed the highest pressure rate in the NFL. So I think that's going to be tough. Joe Alt and Rashad Slater are on IR. I can't speak. They're the top 2 offensive tackles here. So I think it's going to be tough. Chargers defense has regressed since the beginning of the season. They're ranked 17th in defensive DVOA and allowing 5.2 yards per play. I do think the Chargers are a better team, though. I think the Steelers got lucky against the Colts. I don't see them winning again. I am gonna go Chargers. So, all right, let's do the final one: Eagles versus Packers, Monday Night Football. Who you got and why?
You talk about a team that you can't really trust. This Packers team, this the same Packers team that just lost to the Panthers, right?
The Panthers.
Philly just got Jalen Phillips. You talk about they got Michael Carter. You talk about they got Zaire Alexander. They still got Jalen Carter. They still got Jordan Davis. They still got AJ Brown. I like Jordan Love and what he brings to the table. I like that entire team, but they're not better than Philly. I'm going Philly in a big way. I think Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert, and those guys just go out there and have their way. Saquon Barkley has a real similar. He's starting to find his rhythm. Not going to have the year he had in 2024, but I'm going to go to Eagles, even though I do think Michael Parsons is going to be getting after his old friend Jalen Hurts. But too much Philly. I'm gonna go with the boys in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and obviously I'm going Eagles on this one as well. I am excited that AJ Brown is still an Eagle. I didn't think he was going anywhere. I was right. Woohoo! It's going to be cold on Monday night. Kickoff 31, wind chills 27, and by second half it may fall to the mid-20s. Thank God Eagles are on the East Coast, though. They can take the snow. They can take the cold. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. It's not like we're dealing with the Rams or like the Buccaneers or something. But I feel like whoever wins this game gets the edge and home field advantage in the NFC, in the playoffs. Eagles have won 2 straight and are coming off of a bye. So I think they have the advantage of this game. You just mentioned the trades that Eagles have picked up. And the Packers just lost to the Panthers. You guys say more. But I don't think the Panthers have the quarterbacks that can handle one-on-one with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith.
They don't.
Or the interior defense.
Most teams don't. Most teams don't got the DBs to handle AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, and company. So yeah.
Yeah, and Green Bay, they just lost their tight end Tucker Kraft to an ACL tear.
Oh
Sucks.
yeah, man. Felt bad for him, man. Get healthy, young man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I mean, that sucks. But go Birds. The Packers are actually 2.5 favored, but I think this is going to be an Eagles game.
Oh yeah, because of at home, but I mean, yeah, home field advantage. So we'll see if the real Jordan Love comes to play. They might have a shot. If Rashad Gary and Michael Parsons come to play. But the thing is, I mean, that pass rush for the Eagles, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, I mean, they get Nolan Smith back. They add Jalen Phillips. They got Azeez Ojulari. They still got them DBs. You add Jair Alexander is an Eagle now. Yeah, that's a really good pickup. Yeah. Too much firepower. We'll see. But, hey, Jordan Love is coming. Y'all better use that wind chill. That might be y'all only help.
Yep, I agree. All right, Ben, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, make sure you tune in next. Ben's show, No Weddings in the Fall, is up next right here on That Sports Podcast Network. And today's show is sponsored by Wish LBI and Underdog Fantasy. Go to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code BLONDE, and we will double your deposit up to $100. If you like tonight's show, please subscribe, and you can follow us on all socials at The Blonde Blitz. All right, guys, football forever. See you next week, and go Birds.